Hello and welcome to another edition of Son of Kaiju Review. I'm Protomet.
I'm Tank and I'm here.
And today we will be talking about the giant Gila monster.
But really it isn't even a Gila monster if you think about it.
This is a movie that touts having a giant Gila monster that couldn't even get a Gila monster.
Yep. Okay. But it's not like, King Dinosaur, where they said they had a dinosaur, but they used an iguana.
I mean, at least this one is a bit more accurate.
Yeah.
The lizard they actually got, a Mexican bearded lizard, does at least kind of resemble a Gila monster.
A little bit.
So,
a little more bumpy.
This was a horror film from the 1959
era of life.
That specific year, yes. And it is low budget, and it shows.
It was a different time, and us seeing all these updated films, kind of, whoa, you can definitely tell.
Yeah, this was from the era of films where instead of actually putting any effort into constructing creature designs, they just got a creature and put it on a miniature stage.
Yep, pretty much. And that's
And
what
filmed.
they did.
So, it's a small town.
Of racers.
It will at least hot rodders, teenagers. Mostly teenagers by the looks of it. I mean,
Yes.
we get like a sheriff, some like rich guy, a drunk.
Well, you gotta have a drunk.
I mean, it's not a small town without one. Couple are out driving,
and
when
then
they are suddenly attacked by a thing.
Yep. We see the Gila monster quite early in this movie.
Although the first glimpse we get of it is actually just a guy's hand with a glove on.
Yeah.
Which is like the only actual, monster effect that isn't just, let's film this Gila monster. Which isn't really a Gila monster.
Yep. So, the vehicle gets attacked, and
that is just the first of a series of car attacks that occur throughout the course of the film. There's a lot of cars in this movie.
A lot of cars. It's a car-based movie. It's not Cars, but, it has cars.
But anyway, the first young couple that get attacked are Pat and his girlfriend Liz. And this is kind of important because Pat's dad kind of plays the human antagonist of this film.
Yes, he's very jerky.
The fact that his son is missing and potentially eloped with his girlfriend is a cause of much consternation. And
yeah, it's crazy.
He even goes as far as to kind of accuse a local mechanic, Chase Winstead, of potentially being involved. But the sheriff assures the dad that Chase is actually keeping everybody in line to the best of his abilities. If anything, he's the teenager who has the least likelihood of being a delinquent.
I would say Chase is the oldest of the group.
He's definitely the most mature, and that's in part because he's had to work a job to try and pay for his sister's medical bills, because she's got some condition that requires her to get like surgery or something.
Yep, and
so he's a good. He's helping to support his mom. I don't think they ever mention what happened with his dad, but I don't think it's super important.
No,
he's just not present.
Yeah, so they end up, asking him questions about where the couple went, and do you think they went and eloped, and, just...
I mean, Chase says that it's possible, but as far as he was aware, Pat was saving up to buy a hot rod, not elope. Yeah. Though, I suppose the money could have gone to that if...
Yeah. They apparently he saved up to $500. Apparently that was a lot back in the day.
That was a lot back in the day. And now you can buy one toy for a child with that kind of money. Inflation sucks.
It sure does. It sure does, ladies and gents.
That's about how much a single set of Legos costs.
You're not wrong. One of those like if it's based on a movie.
Yeah, admittedly, the bigger sets are about that much. But jeez, the price of Legos these days, Jesus.
They just need to. These kids just don't need Legos. They just need Mega Blocks.
But anyway, yeah, stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think at one point the sheriff calls Chase out to help with pull a car out of a ditch that's partially crushed. Turns out that car was stolen. Nobody knows where the
the person who stole it or the owner is.
Chase's sister gets leg braces, and then we get a musical number that lasts for longer than it really should.
Yes. There's also a scene where Chase literally pulls this drunk guy out of a ditch because he drove right past him really fast, and he kind of got himself into a crash.
Now the drunk guy claimed that some pink and black cars swerved him off the road, but he was clearly drunk. Mm-hmm. But also was a giant Gila monster.
Yeah.
But he's drunk, so he didn't know what he saw.
So and again, Chase just starts singing, and as he is hammering a dent out of some.
Oh yeah, he is. I guess that is kind of a recurring element of this movie, that Chase is a good singer.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of feels awkwardly shoved in.
Well, it's not. He's just singing lines from songs, simple enough. But when he's to his sister, he's actually singing a whole song.
Pulls out a small banjo or whatever, ukulele, something.
Yes.
And just starts playing it.
I'm trying to remember other things that happened.
The Gila monster ends up causing a train to derail, which suddenly gets everybody's attention on the fact that it's a Gila monster and not just a bunch of drunk drivers.
Yeah.
At one point, At one point, Chase and his friends do find Pat's car and pull it out of the ravine it's in.
Yep.
Unfortunately, they do that before the sheriff arrives, so...
The sheriff kind of reprimands them because he could have looked for, clues and evidence of stuff.
Also, Chase's boss got involved with the Gila monster at some point and went missing. And the reason I mention these specifically is because later, after the train wreck, Pat's dad shows up and...
He wants the sheriff to arrest Chase because he thinks he's a bad kid and he thinks he's the one that's causing all the ruckus.
Now, admittedly, the sheriff can't really defend Chase for pulling Pat's car out of the ravine and potentially destroying evidence.
Yeah.
But it's not like Chase was some medical or forensic examiner or something.
Yeah.
He just found his friend's car and pulled it out and didn't even think about trying to preserve it for evidence. So, and even Pat's dad is willing to give him a break on that because that. Yeah. But it's the fact that it's after that Chase's boss winds up getting Gila monstered that he tries to pin it on that, and also kind of at the sheriff's suggestion, Chase does kind of take parts from some of the wrecks to put him on his own hot rod.
Yeah. He kind of recommended the one they found, and he kind of reprimanded him for not having a
busted headlight. But he did explain at the time that it was due to unexpected medical expenses for his sister. Mm-hmm. And the sheriff was like, well, I don't think anybody's going to come. I don't think the insurance adjuster is going to miss one of these headlights. So, and then Chase does that with a set of wheels on another wreck.
Yeah.
And that one's a bit less forgivable, and that's actually what Pat uses as leeway to try and have Chase arrested.
Yeah.
Then there's a party, and
the drunk guy is a DJ.
No, they actually get like some big name DJ who is apparently played by an actual DJ to appear in the film, debuting a song that, as it turns out, was by Chase. So he's got like a record deal on the line.
So all his friends are asking, "Why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us?" And he's like, "I didn't want to make it a big whoop." Then, as they're dancing and enjoying life, the Gila monster decides to break through the wall,
thus impeding the sheriff's attempt to arrest Chase, which he's grateful for because he didn't want to arrest the guy.
Yeah, he's like, he didn't do anything really that illegal.
Give myself a bit of dry throat there.
Then they end up. The sheriff ends up trying to shoot at the Gila monster with really no effect.
But I think that kind of scares it off.
Yeah.
Chase and his girlfriend, she's not named, but apparently she's
an exchange student of some sort, I think.
And she was played by Lisa Simone, the French contestant for the 1957 Miss Universe, which is me just quoting the Wikipedia page.
Good for her.
Anyway, they managed to find Chase's sister, and then Chase, with some nitroglycerin bottles that showed up earlier in the movie, decides to drive his hot rod into the Gila monster, jumping clear just in time, and causing a huge explosion that kills the Gila monster.
He's like, "Sorry for the train tracks, Sheriff. Oh, the train station will buy you a new car."
And Pat's dad sees how hard of a job it is to be a sheriff, given the circumstances of what was going on. He's like, "You know what? You keep your job."
Yep, pretty much it.
And you, kid, you're brave.
Yep.
I'll give you that. And then the movie ends.
He kind of does realize that he finally gets the vibe that his son is dead. Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also comes to realize that Chase isn't a bad kid, despite everything that's kind of going on in this 50s counterculture, rebellious teens.
There is a line in the movie that kind of makes me chuckle when Chase and the sheriff are actually talking, and ends up accidentally kind of admits about the possible drag race going to be happening, and the sheriff's like, "Well, you tell your friends that I'll be on that route that night, so no dragging." All right, Sheriff.
Yeah, this movie went by pretty quickly.
Yeah.
There's not really much we can say about the special effects since...
It's literally miniatures and a Mexican
Mexican beaded lizard.
Yeah. And... yeah, it's... okay, it's a lackluster movie, my opinion, but it's still good in its own right.
I will admit that it does have some good foreshadowing of events. Mm-hmm. It was definitely... it made a bit more sense on a second watch through than it did the first time.
Yeah.
I was able to pick up on some stuff that made a bit more sense.
Well, the first time I watched this was years ago.
I know. That having been said, this is a pretty B movie.
Oh, yeah. Good in its, like I said, good in its own right, but we've definitely seen better.
Yeah, a lot better. It's far from being King Dinosaur territory.
God, that dumpster fire can stay in that dumpster fire. Oh, too sick. It had so much. King Dinosaur had so much for it to do, but the plot just sucked.
It's only had a king dinosaur for like a fourth of the movie, but we're not talking about king dinosaur. Giant Gila monster at least presents its giant Gila monster up front, so it's a more dominant presence.
Yeah.
And it's got an okay plot.
Yeah.
It's got a believable scenario, aside from the giant Gila monster.
Yeah. They don't even explain. They just say it's just a big Gila monster, technically.
I think the best explanation they give for it is like a thyroid condition.
A thyroid condition that makes something that's probably about that big, too.
Yes, because the people listening to this absolutely understand the hand gestures you just made.
Yep.
But yeah, no Atom Age giant monster mutation or anything.
Nope.
It's just this is just a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Which I'm willing to accept. I mean, yeah, that's something that was different about this one compared to other movies of the time.
Yeah.
Like Them or Monster from Green Hell.
Another dumpster fire.
Those ones all have like sci-fi explanations for why the things just grow giant, and this one is just like, no, it just probably happened naturally.
Yep.
As weird as it is,
makes more sense than anything else. Right. Yep.
The acting was pretty okay.
Oh yeah. The actors in this film were pretty good. There was a scene where the sheriff is trying to talk to the drunk guy.
And the drunk guy keeps going off on tangents that are only kind of related to what's being talked
about. He's like, about the wreck.
Well, I was in my car, you know that one I got from the... Sure, it's a beauty. It got it in 54.
Yeah, just like...
No, talk about the wreck.
He's like...
Well, I was just driving along. I ain't got no drink in my body.
He's like, you know what? You drove here drunk. Lock yourself up. Like the sheriff literally told him to lock himself up, and the drunk guy just walks out pretty much. But we don't see him walk out, but the sheriff does steal his booze from the back of his pocket.
Yeah, it's a okay film.
Yeah. You're right, it's definitely a B film, but we've seen worse B films.
I know that a lot of people like to say that The Blob is a B movie, and that feels a bit off to me, whereas this movie definitely feels like it's a B movie.
Yeah. Now, The Blob, I consider it a slight... It's an A, in my opinion, it's an A movie, but it's got that B movie quality.
Right. Whereas this one, I would call it a B movie.
Yeah. So. All black and white.
It's also got similar themes of people in authority not trusting the teenagers, even though the teenagers aren't in the wrong.
Yep.
For the most part.
The most illegal thing they really did was...
Drive backwards?
Yep, that's the Blob. Hey, Paul! Why were you driving backwards? Backwards? I wasn't driving backwards.
I do know that a lot of the releases of this movie these days have it packaged with The Killer Shrews, which is arguably the better of the two movies.
Yes.
But that is also definitely a B movie.
Yes. And that one also I consider a B movie. Like we said, I consider The Blob an A movie that has B movie quality.
Right. But it's a good companion to this movie.
Yeah, because Gila monsters are quite tiny lizards, and shrews are tiny little mammal thingies.
I'm actually not sure what a Gila monster looks like or how big it is, so sure, why not?
I'm pulling that out my butt. I don't know.
Let's look that up since
we have the tablet here.
Up to 22 inches long, so almost 2 feet. How much is a Mexican beaded lizard?
what was the actual star of this movie.
Okay, here's a weird thing. Despite the fact that they use a Mexican beaded lizard instead of a Gila monster, a Mexican beaded lizard is actually one of the rarest lizards in the world, according to Wikipedia. It's not telling me how long they can get, though.
So you're saying that probably cost them a pretty penny to get it.
Okay, it is larger than the Gila monster.
Okay.
It just doesn't say by how much. Anyway.
So, I enjoyed it, but, you know, if I had a choice, I'd watch Killer Shrews.
Yeah.
Alright,
I don't really have much to say either.
me neither. Alright, folks, so till next time, I've been Tank.
I'm Protomat.
See ya.
Bye.